Welcome to the Your Business on Purpose podcast, the ultimate resource for women business owners looking to confidently navigate their entrepreneurial journey while upholding their principles. I'm Dawnette Palmore, your host and fellow entrepreneur. Join me as we immerse ourselves in illuminating conversations with accomplished experts spanning various fields across the business spectrum. Together, we'll unearth strategic insights into seizing opportunities and ensuring that your business is equipped with the essential elements aligned with your purpose and values. Welcome back to Your Business on Purpose podcast, the podcast where we go from chaos to clarity in your business, your money, and of course, your life. I'm Dawnette Palmore, and today's conversation is going to hit home for so many of you, especially if you're someone who shows up powerful for everyone else but second guesses yourself when it matters most. Have you ever felt like you know what to do, but you just can't seem to make that decision? Or you keep waiting for clarity, for confidence, or even certainty, and it never fully comes? Today, we're going to be talking about self-trust, decision-making, and why even the most capable, high-performing people get stuck. I'm joined today by Ev Foster, founder of Change Starts with Choice and a leadership mentor who helps women rebuild self-trust so they can make confident decisions in the moments that matter most. After leading high-performing teams and navigating major life transitions, Ev realizes something powerful. Most people aren't stuck because they lack motivation. They're stuck because they've stopped trusting themselves. This conversation is going to challenge how you and I think about confidence, clarity, and what it actually takes to move forward in our lives and our businesses. So let's dive in and let me give my guest a proper introduction. Now, Ev Foster, as I said, is the founder of Change Starts with Choice, a leadership mentor dedicated to helping women rebuild self-trust so they can make confident, aligned decisions. With a background leading high-performance teams, including her leadership role with Keller Williams in Scotland, Ev has seen firsthand how even the most capable professionals struggle when it comes to personal decisions. Her work blends lived experiences with practical real-life tools designed for businesswomen navigating real pressure. Through her book, coaching, and community, she teaches a grounded approach to transformation, one built on a small, consistent choices rather than dramatic reinvention. Ev brings the clarity, confidence, and change that doesn't come before the decision. They come because of it. Ev, welcome to the show, and thank you so very much for joining us.
Good to be here. Nice to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to start with this question. What led you to do this work? Was there a specific moment where you realized self-trust was the real issue?
I think there's probably been quite a few moments over the course of my life that, you hear the little voice inside you, or you feel the little nudge, and you know that something is needing to change, but too many people are telling you something else. So you listen to other people and you don't actually then listen to that little voice. And when you do, sometimes it's maybe too late. Sometimes, you've made a decision that you shouldn't have made. Sometimes you think, oh, I just wish I'd listened to my own voice, which, let's face it, is our intuition. But, when do we stop listening to ourselves and begin to just take in what everybody else is telling us? Because nobody has lived in our shoes. Nobody has experienced exactly what we have. So who should you trust most? Yourself.
That's a great question. We should trust ourselves most. So
Yeah.
where do you think we break that? Like, where does that get broken? Because when I think about, as children, when we're learning to walk, we're learning to do these
Mhm.
things, we continue to get up because we trust ourselves, right? We continue to get up until we're able to walk. So where
Mhm.
does that trust get broken, do you think, in your experience?
I think, unfortunately, a lot of trust does get broken when you're a child, because a lot of times you're asked to conform. We're asked to conform at school. We're asked to conform in sports. We're asked to conform in stand in line and do all these things. And, your individuality actually sometimes gets kind of almost, figuratively beaten out of you. You're
Yeah.
expected to do what everybody else does. And, if you're standing there, and I was one of these children looking back that thought, I don't know if that's the best way to do that, or I don't know if that's the right thing to do. And, my mother, God rest her soul, used to say to me, I don't know where we got you from. You know, you're different to us, you know, and now I think, yeah, I am. And I'm okay with that because I'm now an adult that can make her own decisions. But I think as a child, so you then end up going one of two ways. You conform and you kind of lose yourself and you lose your trust because you think, well, everybody else round about me seems to know better, so I'll just go with everybody else. Or you completely rebel. And then, you know, in my day, you were in my day, you were then a troublemaker, or you were, you know, you know, because it was very much, you know, I think now is it, I don't think it's much better. It's maybe slightly better, but I still think there's that kind of, no, you will do it this way because this is the way that we say that you should do it. So I think it goes from a young age, and some people get it back and some people never get it back. And that's my message is, you know, begin to trust yourself because everybody has intuition. Everybody, you know.
Yes, that's so good. Wow. That's almost mind blowing, even though I know that to be true, right? Because so many things stem from our childhood. But when we think about what has crushed us, it's also our childhood. It's crushed that inner voice that we were made to have because they want for the sake of being like everybody else, as you said. And you said, you know, we either go with the flow, or we are rebellious, but that's only in their eyes. In our eyes, we're actually doing what we're supposed to be doing, what we feel like we're led to do. And so it reminds me of that fish, the trout. Is it the trout that goes upstream to go lay their eggs and they have to fight through everybody that's going the other way? Wow, so
Mhm.
that's great. So that's very interesting. So what did you notice about successful people when it came to their personal decisions? Because when you think about it, sometimes we can make, I guess this will also probably flow in their business decisions as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people in business, you know, I talk a lot about, you know, obviously there's masculine energy and feminine energy, and a lot of people who are successful and leaders, they very much follow their masculine energy because it's strategy, it's doing, it's getting there, it's setting goals, it's this, it's that. But they quite often forget to actually lean into their feminine energy and sort of say, okay, right, really what it is, what do I need? What do we need? And then they have strategists round about on them. And again, you're told what to do, and you've got to set this goal, and you've got to take that step, and you've got to do this. And all of a sudden, as a successful leader, you're kind of going, everybody's telling me what to do. And actually, what if you're doing, but you're not on the right path? Where are you
Mm,
going? And
wow.
it's the same in relationships. It's the same in business, you know, and I have, you know, been divorced. I have lost one business. I've been in a business that I walked away from because it wasn't the right path. And that is the learned kind of way of trusting again and not being afraid to trust. That's the biggest thing. It's not being afraid to trust that voice.
I told you our minds were going to be blown, you guys.
And you know, it's not easy. Don't get me wrong. Listen, you know, I didn't just wake
Yeah.
up one day and go, I'm just going to trust myself. You know, I mean, it's like anything. It's like, I guess if you look at intuition as being a muscle, right? You have to train it. You have to believe
Yeah.
it. You have to actually tap into it every day to begin to build it and to begin to know when your intuition is saying, wait a wee minute, you know, in my case, Ev, wait a minute, Ev, this is maybe not the right thing that you're doing. Stop, take a beat, and just decide if it's the path that you should be on. So yeah, it's not something that just goes, yeah, that's it.
Right,
I'm
right.
just going to
Nothing's
trust.
that easy, right?
No, I wish. I wish.
So what are some things maybe that we could be listening for, looking for in ourselves to start awakening and becoming aware of that voice that is trying to tell us to stop, slow down, change, or whatever that might be?
The first thing that people need to do is actually slow down, actually sit. And, you know, I always put my hand in my heart and take a couple of breaths and listen to what is actually, and close your eyes, close down your eyes and just breathe from your heart. Now, when you're in your heart space, different things come up and different things come up and you think, whoa, that's a wee bit strange. That's not my logical mind. Because, you know, our minds are 5% conscious and 95% unconscious. So how do you reach the unconscious? You need to make your unconscious conscious. Breathing, regulating your nervous system helps that. And, you know, a lot of my clients, you know, they'll say, what do I do between sessions? breathe, literally really breathe. Don't just breathe on the run, as it were. Sit down, take a breath, and the things that can come up are actually quite remarkable. But we don't give ourselves that time to do that. So that's an easy kind of way to start to tune into your intuition. I think a lot of times we have everybody's got the voice in their head, but a lot of times the voice in our head is quite negative. So we need to then begin to kind of go, all right, stop being negative. What would I say if somebody came to me and asked me a question in this situation? What would my reply be? And sometimes that's very different than the answer you give yourself. But yeah, I mean, the breathing and regulating of the nervous system is in this modern day, juggling businesses, families, expectations, being told what to do, all the social media, everything. How many times do we actually sit and just breathe?
Yeah, I mean, that's so true, right? How many times do we actually disconnect so that we can reconnect? Like,
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
so good because, just thinking about we're always going, like you said, always going and doing, and we never take that moments, I should say, right? We should do this every day and also to reflect, right? What happened on this day? What went right? What could have been done better? What can I do to improve? Like, we don't do that and we don't listen to ourselves. And so many times I can think of, that time you've got that feeling that don't do this or don't do that or whatever it is, and you did it anyways, and then you're like kicking yourself, like, why did you told yourself not to do that and
Hmm.
you did it anyways. And I think sometimes we even suppress that intuition, that voice that we have for whatever reason, maybe because that's what we've been taught to do, right? Is to suppress it
Hmm.
and just live on impulse sometimes when our body is literally screaming at us to not do something and to just take a moment as you said and to really just breathe and think about
Hmm.
things.
And I think a lot of times, in business, there's a lot of people have very clear goals. Okay. So
Mhm.
call it a goal, call it an intention. They're very clear goals, and they know the actions they should be taking, but there's something stopping them from taking these actions. So the way I look at it, you've got the intention and you've got the actions. And this bit in between is there's something in your unconscious mind that is stopping you taking that action. And that can be your intuition telling you it's not the right action. It could be your intuition saying, are you sure you want to take that action? It's not necessarily that people are just not taking it because they're lazy or they don't know what to do or whatever. So we have to look at it that why are we not taking the action? Is it something that we just don't know why we're not taking it? That is your intuition, and it could be that it's saying it's not the right thing. The goal is not right for you. The goal is not the
Mhm.
right thing, and your intuition's saying, no, just hold back. And I think even like a lot of people will meditate, but even meditation, it's making you think about something else, but sitting with yourself is different to meditating as well,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think and it's like you say, it sounds simple. Yeah, just sit and breathe and you'll all be fine. But it's not that simple. It does take practice. But I would challenge people to say, well, when was the last time you actually sat and just did that? And you said something, when was the last time at the end of the day that you sat and thought, do you know what? That went really well today, and I'm really proud of myself,
Yeah.
rather than the usual chatter that we give ourselves. Well, I had a to-do list and I didn't do that, and I didn't do that, and I didn't get to that, and I've still got that to do tomorrow. What did you do? What was the thing that you went, you know what, I did do that and I'm really proud that I did that? Because that again helps us the next day, doesn't it? Because you want that
Yeah.
feeling again. You want that feeling of pride in yourself. So
Right.
stop beating ourselves up. Stop beating ourselves up for what we didn't do and praise ourselves for what we did.
Right, right. It's so crazy how the way that we treat ourselves, because when we see somebody like, down, we're like encouraging them, like, look what you did do, look at the
Mhm.
positive. And we don't do that for ourselves.
We
And
don't.
that just really frustrates me just for myself because I have to catch myself like, okay, this is what you did get done today. Like, good job. You can't do it all. You don't want to do it all. Like, we're human beings. We're not superheroes. We're not superhuman. We have these, we were created to do so much, but we're also created for rest and rejuvenation and reset. And when we're not doing that, we keep, I think, like you said, pushing forward and pushing our intuition down and not listening to ourselves. And I think it's interesting that you said maybe we're not taking the steps that we know we need to take to reach the goal because our body, our intuition is telling us it's not the right goal.
Mhm.
So even that can stop us from moving forward.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the thing with rest, so what happens if you keep going, keep going, keep going, keep pushing, keep doing, keep doing, keep doing? You burn out, right? Burnout is a
Mhm.
real thing. Or you end up, being completely resentful of everybody around about you because nobody's doing anything and but actually we have to give ourselves the permission to rest.
Mm.
Nobody ever got a medal for lasting, 4 hours sleep and then being grumpy for the rest of the day. But we have this, kind of thing in our head. Well, I worked an 80-hour week and, oh, well, I worked 9 to 5 and big, wow. Do you know how many hours of sleep did you get? Because that's where, again, if you're tuning into your intuition, that's where a lot of times things come through, and you waking up
Yeah.
and you think, wow, I actually have the answer to the question that I was worried about yesterday. Have you ever done that?
Oh,
You waking up in the morning and you think, oh my goodness, right, I know what to do. So who told you what to do in the middle of the night? Your intuition.
wow. That's so good. We don't it's like when you take a time off work, right? They say, why we have the weekend. We're supposed to
Mhm.
take a time of rest so that all those other things can come to us because we get so clouded by whatever's going on that we actually need to step away and we don't. And even as you said, sleeping
Mhm.
can give us the answer.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is it's so simple, but of course it's
Yeah.
not. It's
Yeah.
simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, but again, it goes back to if you think about intuition as being a muscle and your unconscious
Mhm.
mind as needing trained, then, it takes time to do that. But once you get that sort of feeling of waking up in the morning and thinking, wow, I know exactly what I need to do because it's now come, you want more of that. So therefore, it's like anything. If something feels good, you want it a bit more. Um,
Right.
so it's, yeah, I mean, I do have the strangest dreams sometimes, but they're my unconscious just telling me, giving me messages that I otherwise wouldn't get. I used to be the terrible sleeper. I used to be the most terrible worrier about things. And that 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 to 3 o'clock when everything's so heightened and you need to sleep and you're tired and this thought and your voice in your head is going over and over and over it in your head. And
Yeah.
then fall asleep eventually and you get up in the morning and things don't seem quite as bad as they did at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because we've rested, we've maybe got the answer. We maybe don't have the answer, but we know that, we can maybe tackle it in a different way. But yeah, it's an interesting, I think there's go, 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 do, do, do. And that's why there's so many people get so stressed and the stress
Right.
levels are high. And, life is, we have one shot at this life. Who wants to be stressed all the time and have burnout? What's it all for?
Right, exactly. And something you also said that came to me was like, people sometimes brag about how many hours they've worked,
Mhm.
but why aren't we bragging about how many hours we didn't work? How many hours we actually got
Yeah.
to spend with our family, with people that we love, doing the things that we enjoy doing.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, well, I mean, I had, 9 hours sleep every single night. And somebody would go, what? Yeah, you're right, and I had three, but yeah, we don't boast about that. And let's be
Yeah,
honest, we love most people, what do they, what do they, why are they in business? Most people will
right.
say to have, financial freedom and to have more time, right? So, who says that you have to work, 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 work to
Yeah,
get then the time when you've maybe, your children are, I mean, and I was a single mum with 4 kids, right? So
yeah,
I am not somebody who's going, how can I mean, I have been there, I have had to work, work, work and also be mum, 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 mum. But, I don't believe in work-life balance. I believe in counterbalance. Sometimes you do have to work a lot more. Sometimes you get more time with the family. But if I had been work, 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 my kids would have grown up and I would have missed it.
yeah,
Then
right.
what would it be all for? What would have, my kids are beginning to move out now, like I look back now and I think I'm glad that I did, a lot of growth in myself
Yeah.
earlier so that I didn't
Yeah.
get to this stage and think, oh my goodness, that's it. They've gone, they've moved out.
Yeah, now what
You
do I
know,
do? Yeah,
now,
time is
yeah.
lost. I
Good.
think that's a good point to make too, that there isn't any balance, right? As you said, we have to counterbalance. Like, it's not like 10%, 10%, like we're divvying time out. It's more of, how do you work around your life? How do you fit work in? Because we all have to make money. I mean,
Hmm.
it's just the way life is. We have to eat, we have to provide, do all these things. But we also have to enjoy, we have families that we need to be there for, that are counting on us. So how do we do, as I say, all the things without the stress, right? And you called it counterbalance, which I love,
Hmm.
because I couldn't imagine as a single mom, having to work, provide, and raise children. That's a lot. That's a lot. So kudos to you for doing that and working on yourself, because a lot of people miss that. They don't work on themselves. They just go through the season, and before they know it, it's over. And then you're left with a ton of regret.
Yeah, I mean, if I hadn't got divorced, I wouldn't have done the work on myself either,
Mm,
because I would just have kept doing, 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 and and the my children's father, not a bad father, not a bad guy at all. It just wasn't. We weren't right together.
yeah.
But when I left the marriage, it was very much I needed to work on myself. I wanted the kids to have the best mum that they could have.
Yeah.
So working on myself gave them a much better mum, made me a much better business person. So actually taking the time for self has made the two areas of my life much more productive, for want of a better word. You don't be productive in the family, but in terms of time spent, So I think it's so important, to take that time. And I'm not talking about, I love getting my nails done, but I'm not talking about going for manicures and pedicures and massages and everything. Just actually learning about yourself. How do you tick? What makes you tick?
Yeah, that it's so good, and I love that you said that, because it's really self-care. And, we've, as women in society, we've been told that we have to put everybody else first. And what happens? We become bad mothers, we become bad partners, and, so the list goes on. But when we pull back and actually take the time to develop ourselves, to work on ourselves, to listen to ourselves, to know ourselves,
Mhm. Yeah.
amazing things get accomplished, amazing things,
And
and it's not
who tells us that we've to put everybody else first?
society.
Right. So we listen to society.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
dare I say it, mainly other women that tell us we need to put everybody else
Mm,
first.
you're right.
And if you put yourself first, oh my goodness, you're being selfish. Am I? Or am I being selfless because I want to show up as the best version of me for my kids? I want to show up as the best version of me in my business for my team. I want to be the best version of me, for my parents, for my, extended family. So
That
is
is
that
so good. Like, I got
selfish?
goose
Is
right.
it selfish or is it selfless to put yourself
Yeah,
first and be
it's
the best version
selfless.
of yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Wow. I got goosebumps from you just saying all that, because it's just fun. I've done podcasts on this before, that women are not really supporting women. We're actually tearing each
Mm,
other down. And those words you just said, who is the one telling us we have to be last? It's each other. We're
yep.
telling each other that it's coming from other women. And we have to
Mhm.
change that language. We have to change what we think support looks like, because it's not about trying to make every woman a superwoman, because we're not that.
No.
We have to encourage and lift up and come alongside and show our daughters that there's a better way, that running to the ground, having your hair and all, not taking a shower in a week or whatever the case may be, is not what we are meant to do, and it's not how we show up, and it's not gonna benefit anybody that we do that to
Mhm.
ourselves. This conversation was so has been so incredibly powerful, and I hope that this really has touched home with women, and that they really take that time to be with themselves and think about, what am I really doing? Is this really my path? So if women are asking this question, how can they find you?
How can they find me? They can find me. So I have at Change Starts with Choice website. They can find me on socials, just Ev Foster, really easy to find. And the website's probably the place to get more information. You can have a book that's called Change Starts with Choice out on Amazon, and you can get it in the States, you can get it UK. I'm pretty easy to find and love to speak to women. And I love when women actually challenge me about the selfish or selfless, because I'll have a conversation and ask questions, because I firmly believe that if people want to get the best from us, we have to be the best for ourselves. And that
Yep.
means looking after ourselves first. And that means that, at some points we have to say no to certain things because we're having that time for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I really, really believe in that fully. I really do.
Yeah. That's amazing. So we'll put all of her information in the show notes for you guys. So make sure you go to her website, go to her Instagram, go check her out, follow her. If you feel like this is something you need to work on, which you probably do because we all do, give her a call, make an appointment with her, talk to her, have a conversation with her. Because this is really powerful stuff. And I think if we get this as women, we will literally change the world for the better. And this conversation right here, this is the work. We're not stuck because we don't know enough. We're stuck because somewhere along the way, we stopped trusting ourselves. We've been told not to trust ourselves. We were trained not to trust ourselves. And what Ev reminded us today of is that clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from choosing. Choosing, we have a choice, we have power, and we have to take that back. So confidence doesn't show up before the decision. It's built because you made one. And transformation, it's not the same big dramatic moment, right? It's the small choices we're willing to make consistently. So I want to leave you with this and ask yourself, what decisions have you been avoiding that you already know the answer to? And I challenge you to breathe, to sit with yourself, and to do what we've talked about in this episode today. So if this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone that needs a reminder that they don't have to do it all. They shouldn't be doing it all. And as always, if you're ready to move from chaos to clarity in your business, with your money, in your life, make sure you all connect with me, Your Money on Purpose. And until next time, we will thank you, Ev, for being here with us. We appreciate your wisdom and just what you brought. It's really given me some things to think about and to start implementing and moving, listening more to myself and my intuition. Thank you again. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
This podcast is dedicated to you and all the incredible women out there breaking chains, pushing through, and striving to make it all work. Your support truly means the world to me. Could you do me a favor? Be a gem and leave a review. It will help us reach even more women, making a bigger impact. Your feedback is invaluable, and I would genuinely appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, ensuring you never miss an episode. Until next week, live a purposeful life in both your business and your finances.